Hello viewers, welcome to Fort Nagaland News. Amian hoday apne ange alag khobor luina ai thakya nishna. Aji amian ayatu Dr. Maribon, Project Manager and Counseling Psychologist in Abu Dhabi Education Department. Aro itu pore tai cha Associate Professor Martin Luther Christian University Shillong. Tatela tai ekta inika dangor manu ekta sing regarding psychology aro amian ajikali mental health problem issue lai thake itu karone tahan ase cha lead role lui thake to aro ingone man bishi din bra Miss Lovitoli omi tai logo mem logo bi tai icha Nagaland tai bi ekta ase itu psychologist khan bitor de ingone counseling ki olibi lifea center to ingone icha mem thake to icha tai laga mentor ase ingone idone aji man ekta duita khota hodi lubo itu regarding psychology and other problems amian society there.
But how did she come to Nagaland?
Yeah, first of all, yeah, ma'am. How did you come to Nagaland?
Well, Nagaland has been one of the most popular states, not only in India but also in the world. It's gained a lot of popularity across the globe. But I've come to know about Nagaland because of my students when I was still in Martin Luther Christian University, and I'm very thankful that Luby, he was one of my MSc Counseling Psychology students in 2014 onwards. And I know that there's a lot of great things happening in Nagaland. I also currently are supervising PhD students who are also here in Nagaland. And from Abu Dhabi, I decided to come and visit India because my family is in India. And because of my closeness to Love and other PhD students, we came today and I brought my family here. This is their first time to come to India, and it's my second time to come to Dimapur, and I'm very happy. We love to see the similarities of culture of the Philippines and also Nagaland.
Okay, ma'am, one question. Since she's your student, my ma'am Lovitoli, what about Lifea Center and what is it doing from your point of view?
I am so proud of Lovi because she has emerged into someone who has initiated one of the most important aspects of human life, and that is mental health. She has initiated programs, awareness programs. She's doing counseling individually and also with families. She has gone to different the churches, communities to raise an awareness on how important it is for all of us to understand the importance of addressing the mental health issues, not only our physical health. It's equally important for us to pay attention to our worries, our personal issues, family relationship issues, financial issues, employment issues, individual personal issues, just like depression, anxiety, and even the developmental issues that the students are facing, our children are facing. So, for instance, autism, those learning disabilities, dyslexia. These are the issues that we have not been able to fully address. We have not been able to really develop a structure, a framework, and I believe that center like Lapie is one of those. I hope many more centers and initiatives, not only in Nagaland but across the country, that is going to happen. I know that there are already existing centers who are addressing these issues, but I think we still need to do a lot more. And one thing that I admire about the Lapia Center is not only an intervention center, but it's also a research center, whereby we cannot develop an intervention without research. So this is very important. So I know that she just started, but I believe with all my heart that it'll go far.
Okay, ma'am, you might be hearing about Nagaland and all the unemployment crisis and all. In your point of view, what is the solution?
Actually, when I was still with MLCU, I still am as a supervisor in PhD courses, but even some years ago, the issue of unemployment in Nagaland, actually not only in Nagaland, but let's be specific with the students who have shared their information with me, that it's really increasing and it's worrisome because with the unemployment comes the different issues. Like, for example, if they go towards the negative way of coping all this difficulty, they engage into different activities that is more harmful than instead of thinking of different solutions for them. That's not an easy solution for unemployment because it's not only an individual work. It doesn't just come from the person. Okay, it needs the family support, it needs the community support, it needs the government support as well. Because even though we have qualified individuals, when there are no available job opportunities, then there's imbalance of available skills and also lack of opportunities. So in this angle, it's important that the government will think of how they could provide more opportunities, employment opportunities for young people. That's one. Number two, we also know that with the limitations of budgets of the government, for example, maybe not everybody who is qualified can be given an employment in the government. So, well, other people who are qualified tend to look at entrepreneurship as one of the options that they can do. So when we say entrepreneurship, it is basically about starting their own business. We are aware that many individuals have already started their own business. It's not easy. It's a very challenging because the first question is where will they get the capital? How are they going to make sure that their business is going to be sustainable? They have to carefully assess the market, the local, regional, and global market trends. Then they will be able to see how sustainable this business is going to be. It's not just about starting a small shop. No. For example, if they are going to think of, I'm going to sell shoes, for example, you have to see how many shoe shops are already there. How are these shoe shops gaining? What are the other shoe products that are working and it's not working, or productive or not productive? So I think all the entrepreneurs have to start with, again, research. Without the market trend research, it will be risky to start their own business. Now, connecting to this entrepreneurship, there are some government schemes that they can actually approach or apply for in terms of small to medium industry schemes that they can apply for. I hope it's still available, but they can explore different opportunities. And when it comes to starting their own business, I think this is where the family, relatives can actually help even at the initial stage of it. Then maybe hopefully when the business will start picking up, they will be able to see in what way they could negotiate or repay back what they have already received help from the family. And I would encourage the young people who are unemployed right now to ask for help. This is very important because if they are keeping the problem within themselves and not seeking help, most of the time it affects their mental health. Now it will go back to them not feeling worth. They will be regretting, for example, why did I take this course? Now I am not employed. So it becomes like a cycle of negativity, And when there's a cycle of negativity and they don't feel that they can actually do something, then they will look at negative ways of coping. Sometimes they will say, okay, just get married maybe or do something else. Sometimes that increases the problem more. So the other solution that I'm saying is that you ask help. So where will you get help? Again, it goes back to the family. The role of the family is very important. Share, open up. Maybe you have a brother who have a means. Maybe you have a cousin, maybe you have an uncle. We should not feel shy at asking help. This is very, very important. When we don't ask help, how will the other people know that you need help? And I think the stigma that the people have towards unemployment should also be addressed. So if we know that somebody is qualified and not working, we should not look down on them. In fact, we should help. We should look as a community. Okay, how can we help? So there's what we call community-based participatory approach in solutions for everything, not only unemployment. And when you say community-based participatory approach, it's a teamwork between the family, maybe the church, the community head leaders, and even the government and the NGOs in the community. When these stakeholders work together, nothing is impossible. And of course, above all, we know that without God's help, we will not be able to do anything. So I would say from number one, from whom we are going to ask help, is from God above.
So, ma'am, my last and the next question, it will be the scope for students in psychology. Since you are from this psychology department and you have even trained our only psychologists in Nagaland, I would say like
There are so many.
one among. So, like, what is the scope for students in psychology?
I really like that.
Actually.
I really like that you asked that question because this is an emerging profession, and many people tend to misunderstand the importance of this profession. Okay, students who study psychology tend to go to different majors or specializations. Some of them will go towards educational psychology, occupational, organizational psychology, and clinical psychology or counseling psychology, and sometimes they would pursue research, they would go ahead with their PhD. Some of them, they will go ahead and do their practice. And all these people who have this special training are qualified to give counseling. Why? Because they learn both the theoretical framework interventions, they learn, for example, the usage of administering and assessments, administering tests, for example, depending on the need or the counseling or psychology need of the client. They were trained in both the theoretical and the practical aspects of intervention. Not everybody can just give counseling. Everybody can listen effectively. Everybody can encourage affectionately, but not everybody has the training to give the technical intervention, and that is when this professional training is required. And when the students who have received training in psychology and in counseling, for instance, they can get an opportunity to be employed in different areas. So most of the students who complete counseling psychology, for instance, are employed in schools or in university, any educational institutions, as counselors or as career counselors, if they have extra training in career counseling, for example. Some of them are involved in NGOs, social work organizations, NGOs, and they provide intervention for people who are going through depression, they are trying to overcome substance use, for example, and family therapy, and things like that, okay? Some of them, they are engaged in different organizations who are doing research project and community intervention. So for example, there is an issue of flood in one area, and then there's displacement or even conflict. For example, there are tribal conflicts, for example, and there's a lot of emotional, psychological trauma that the people are going through. Imagine the kind of trauma that the child, a mother, an individual is going through. They need a lot of counseling intervention. And this, so for again, I would say all of us can give a certain level of encouragement, but there's a lot of techniques that only trained individuals can actually provide. Okay, and again, there are different cultural considerations that counseling psychologists or psychologists need to understand. So for example, if our training is from a Western institution, we have to be very careful on how we apply this intervention in the cultural context. The culture of the Kasis and the Garos are different from the culture of the Nagas. And so this cultural consideration is extremely important. And with this comes the research. So again, even though we finish our master's or bachelor's or even PhD in counseling psychology, we need to do a lot of updating ourselves and research so that we can be more effective in what we are trying to do to the individuals. And also, counseling psychology or counseling psychology, for that matter, it's so vast. So I may be a counseling psychologist, but I am not an expert to deal with dyslexia cases. So clinical psychologists may not be an expert in dealing with occupational issues or organizational psychology. You know, so it's different fields. So for example, people who are psychologists in the in a company dealing with the human resource organization, human resource issues, for example, they may not be expert in career psychology or in substance use counseling. So we have to be trained in a general psychology subject, but we have to specialize in certain specialization which we can practice specifically and more effectively. So it's vast, but I am telling you from the Nagaland perspective, Northeast, India, globally, this is an emerging and extremely in demand. So I'm working in Abu Dhabi right now, in the UAE, and I am working in the education department. The department, I am a part of the team that developed the framework, which mandates that every school must appoint a full-time career counselors by the end of 2026, and all schools will be inspected if they have appointed
so
or
going
not.
to be applied.
Exactly. Yes. So they have a fine. They have a fine. If they don't employ, they will receive a fine. So imagine how much, if we have 4,000 schools, we need 4,000 career counselors. Imagine. That is separate from the clinical psychologists, because the clinical psychologists are helping the students of determination. Students of determination in UAE are those people who have special needs. They call them students of determination. So that is a separate. So we have full-time career counselor.
Especially about children.
Exactly. And then we have a special needs teacher, and we have counselors who are dealing with socio-emotional aspects. So where are they getting these experts? The UAE have to export them, import them from other countries to UAE. So, well, some of the qualified counseling psychologists who are here in Nagaland, you can explore opportunities like that. But I'm not saying about UAE only. Even other countries are in need of that. But I can say that even among our own community, in our own city, in our own town, in our own village, we need such professionals.
We need a lot, but the thing is, people have not understood the importance of counseling and career counseling, especially in the field of career specialists. Can you a little bit elaborate the importance of why career counseling is important?
Yes, that's really a good point, because we thought that after we have become counseling psychologists that we can give career counseling, counseling, but actually it's different. We have a different qualifications altogether. For example, there are certification program that is provided by National Career Development Association that is based in the US. When you finish this training, okay, you can become certified career coach, and after that there's a second level of training that makes you a master trainer, which makes you train other counselors as well. Now, how different is this from the basic counseling psychology is because you become more expert in terms of identification of interests and career potential of the students, even while they are still in high school or middle school even. So let's say in the high school, okay? So what kind of course are they going to do in the university post-secondary? Many of the students, if you ask now, even in my research also, many of them are still not sure of what they want to do in the future. Sometimes they base it on whichever is popular, whichever is going to give salary, high salary, correct? Or whichever my friend will choose. Or my family is full of medical doctors, therefore I'm going to become medical doctors as well, right? Or the problem with this kind of decision making is that sometimes it doesn't align with the individual's potential. When I say potential, means the individual's interest, the individual's ability, right? Sometimes they are forced to make certain choices that are not aligning. So when they choose those kind of courses, sometimes it makes it difficult for them to cope later on when they are already in that particular course. Therefore, a lot of dropout cases in the university, right? Or sometimes even if they finish the course also, at the end of the day, they don't do well in the work that they are able to do. The job satisfaction or the efficiency as well. So to be able to ensure that the young people will choose the career path that is aligned with their strength, both academically and in their personal strengths as well, This is where career counseling is important. That's one. The second one is we know for a fact that many people change career
Yeah.
in the middle of the way. They change, okay? So the change of career also require guidance. For example, you have been an engineer for some years, and then in the area where you're working, there's no scope for engineering, for example. So either you will search for a job outside, or you will have to think of this second option that you have. Okay, I'm engineer, but I'm also very creative in something else, for example. Then you realize that you're also good at something else, because that's possible. Okay, so what could you do apart from what you have been doing? That requires a lot of expertise, okay, in terms of helping you
Yes.
decide.
Yes,
Okay.
right.
Thirdly is career counselors will know opportunities in your area, outside your area, which
Yes.
the students or the parents may not necessarily know.
Yes, right.
So the career counselors have this information, and they will be able to share with the teachers, with the schools, with the parents, like that. And it gives them, for example, scholarship.
Yeah,
Who will
exactly.
give them many students? I was surprised. Do you know that there's such thing we call Fulbright scholarship to pursue PhD? And then they say, what is that? They don't know. No way. There are many.
Honestly, we don't know.
Exactly. So there are a lot of scholarships, even the national scholarships that we have. In our discussion this morning only, I said,
Do we still have now in Nagaland?
yes, it's not a Nagaland, it's a national scholarship,
national
which
scholarship.
students who want to pursue PhD can actually apply for, you see. And that's another one. And even national and international
Okay, ma'am, fine.
internship program
Funded by
by the government.
But
India.
Yes, by the
yes,
government of
central
India.
government.
And do you know that there are also national and international internship opportunities? That, so for example, there is what we call Swiss education group. This is just one of the group that I recently encountered, and in the area of tourism and hospitality. Okay, and they welcome students' application. For internship program. They will provide internship program in Switzerland, for example, and then they can either apply for a job later or come back and apply whatever they have learned. This is just one of the things. There are many other opportunities in different countries, okay, which our students need to explore. So I'm encouraging the young people. I know many of us are spending a lot of our time scrolling our Facebook or making our videos. Make use of your time. Utilize your every minute, every hour into searching. There's a lot of, for example, there's what we call OnNet. OnNet, ONET. Okay, this is a free website. When you Google, okay, OnNet, there's a free career counseling questionnaire, which enables you to identify your personality, your career interests. Okay, and then there also you will look for internship opportunities. You Google, you find it's all there. Okay, on net. Another one is what we call Unifrog. Unifrog. This is again another website which you can use freely. And another website you can look at is Ubridge. Ubridge. Looks at all these websites, free educational materials, career-related opportunities are all there. It's a matter of developing that determination to search. If there's no opportunity, if there's no opportunity here locally, maybe in other region. If not in the country, maybe in other countries. There's almost no reason to give up. There's no reason to give up. There's always a lot of opportunity.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask one last question regarding. I think it's around 5 to 6 years now. Our youths from Nagaland, and she's one among the psychologists out there, even she will be knowing about that, and she knows that. What is the cause for our youngsters, mostly juveniles and youngsters below 18 or 20 now, almost all the youngsters, they started having drugs a lot, especially the drugs called sunflower. What might be the reason as a psychologist?
See, addiction is quite similar across all the substances. It may not be just sunflower. It can be other substances also, including alcohol and others. Okay, And
But this drugs
the,
is affecting the most.
um,
Why?
that is true. In fact, one of my current PhD student right now, that is his topic. One of my PhD scholar, he is trying to explore the prevalence of the youth, and also trying to see in what way a community-based participatory approach can uh, litigate this kind of situation right now. Um, Always, even from before, the peer pressure is one of the things that is very easily influencing another, because you have your best friend, you have your close friend, they tried it, and then they will tell you that they felt like this, they felt that it's really nice, they use the word fun in their own definition, which is actually dangerous, because people use the word fun in a very casual way without realizing the influence, the impact of that word fun once you pass it to another person. And out of your curiosity, either curiosity or the pre-pressure curiosity, this new child or adolescent tries. And the problem of substance, once you start taking it, it becomes a habit. And the problem with substance is that the increase of your body's demand to take this substance is inevitable. Once you start, your body will continue to demand to increase the amount of substance you are taking. This is dangerous. And this is the young people need to know this. That's why don't even start. Because stopping it is more difficult than starting it. Because once they are already in the hook of it, it becomes a cycle. So I am not saying that there's no solution. Definitely there's a solution. As early as possible, they must stop. Because once the substance is already flowing in the system, it becomes very, very difficult, because their brain functioning is affected, their motor skills balance will become affected, their motivation to do anything else, not to talk about academics, becomes affected. And when they become disoriented, even their relationships, their perception towards what you say to them becomes changed. That's why most of them become agitated unnecessarily. That way, sometimes most of them become, for example, abusive. Okay, although others tend to just sleep after taking anything like that. Each person have a different responses to all the substances. Having said that, even though they quietly sleep, okay, sometimes the people who tend to choose that tend to become so laid back, and they are not able to do anything else apart from that, and so it becomes a cycle of effect. So having said that, sometimes one of the causes also is having too much. When there are people who have a lot, overflowing money, they don't have anything else. They don't. I'm saying this from my experience as well as in counseling. No, they don't have problem with tuition fee, no problem with food, no problem with money. They have their own cars, they have their money, and so the question of what will I do with my money now? And so sometimes when you don't have, it's a problem. When you have too much also, it also becomes a problem, right? So sometimes they tend to think now of your treating others, or again, it goes back to the concept of fun. It is fun to be with the friends and then enjoy this stuff, and the word enjoyment becomes dangerous, and it goes to the wrong way of enjoyment as well. So that can be there. Number 3 is, I would say, is your lack of self-awareness. When you are not aware of yourself, you don't know your strengths, you don't know your weaknesses, you are not very confident about yourself, it's easy for you to be influenced.
Yes.
It's easy for you to give in because you don't know your potential. Because I strongly believe in this self-efficacy theory of Albert Bandura. No? When you know your abilities, you become clear of what you want to do in the future.
Exactly.
Okay, and so, but if you don't know and you're blurred and you're confused and you're unclear, then it becomes very easy for you to be swayed here and there. But if you're very clear, you have your self-efficacy. I know I can do this, and therefore I will be able to do this for high school. After high school, I will do this. Okay, whether you will continue to do your studies or you will go for entrepreneurship, doesn't matter. But you have a vision, you have a plan, you have a goal. So this awareness of self is very important. How you become self-aware? First, it starts with your personal relationship with God. This I really believe. When you have a strong personal relationship with God, you become clearer of your role as a child of God. You become clearer of your role as a child of your parents. You become clearer of your role of what you can do to the community. So you will tend to think of positively. Now, as human beings, we make mistakes. We fall down. We make a lot of mistakes in our life. But when you are self-aware, you don't keep on falling, or you don't remain fallen. When you are self-aware, you rise up. You cope. You seek help. You get back on your 2 feet and say, I have to change. I want a new life, and I want a better future for me and my family.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Maribon, thank you so much for giving us your time,
Thank you so
your
much.
precious time, and coming and speaking with us regarding many issues that we are facing right now, as of now, not only in Nagaland, but all across the world, or India, or especially in Nagaland. One thing is but thank you so much for giving
Thank you
us
so
your
much
time.
for this opportunity.
So viewers, inga khobor han ami han apni han gai na hodai dekhai de koi do na apni han sai de Fort Nagaland news moyara machumi for FNN.